Hey guys! So, just give y'all a little heads up. I tried recording a video of me starting a new playthrough of Stardew Valley, but it didn't record for some reason. I'm still trying to figure out why it didn't record. Um, so be patient with me on that. Gameplay is coming. Um, Matter of fact, I downloaded a new game called Roots Paka, which Paka Pasha. I'm not entirely sure how they say it, but anyway, it's like as I've heard other people on the internet say, it's like Stardew Valley, but in prehistoric times. But what I like about it is there is a bit more of a magical element to it. It's not like Sunhaven in that it's, you know, magical creatures everywhere, that kind of thing. But at the same time, it is definitely more of a like like the whole thing. Roots Pacha is their god, goddess, something like that. And there's stuff like you'll get a quest your second or third day in where it's like the caves are exuding some mystical energy, and you walk in there and you find magical creatures and stuff like that. Creatures who can talk, basically. And there's stuff about like attuning animals to your senses so they don't run away from you and that kind of thing. So it's a fun game. I will definitely start playing that again. Also, in the comments, if you guys don't mind, let me know because I can either. I only did like the first day in the new Stardew Valley game before I figured out that it wasn't recording. So let me know if you guys want me to completely do a new one, start over from day one, or if you guys wouldn't mind picking up from the second day. Also, on the first day, I've just gone around, visited people. I got some seeds to plant and started out on the new farm, which is the Meadowlands farm, which means we start with 2 chickens. So we had to grow them up and all that. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you guys would rather start completely over, if you'd rather start a new game, or a new game that's not Stardew Valley, let me know. I need your input in the comments if you wouldn't mind. Um, but that's not what I'm here to tell y'all about today. Um, I'm here to talk about Agatha All Along. Um, I I have to admit that I was kind of hesitant to start watching this show because the trailer made it seem like it was going to be really, really scary. And my sensitivity, like, I like some scary stuff, I like some spooky stuff, but but at the same time, I have a very active imagination and a very, what's the word? Very not, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But, like, I am the type of person to have nightmares about stuff that I see on TV, or, for my brain to, like, incorporate that into my dreams and everything. So I kind of um so but yeah, so I was sitting here one night after Key got back from work, and I was sitting here and I was just browsing YouTube, doing whatever, and all of a sudden I came across um, the Ballad of the Witch's Road, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I clicked on it and watched the whole thing, listened to the whole thing. Immediately after the video stopped, I pressed pause or, stop so another video wouldn't start up automatically. Turned to Keith, who was just sitting over there, and was like, I want to watch Agatha novel. I want, excuse me. I want to watch Agatha All Along. And he was like, okay. So we've gotten through 3 episodes, I think. 2 or 3, I'm not entirely sure. I think 3. But, so I have to tell you, I really like the show. It is not as scary as I thought it would be, and they're creative in how they do the scares. There hasn't really been any jump scares yet. Now, maybe that'll come later. I don't know. But, oh, and also, of course, obvious, spoilers. If you haven't seen the show, go see it. It's good. It's not that scary. It's definitely spooky, but it's not that scary. And it's really clever how they do it, because if y'all remember right, in at the end of WandaVision, Scarlet Witch or Wanda defeated Agatha, sunk her deep into the the neighborhood is like this. It's like a TV show kind of thing. And so how they start out is Agatha is like a police lieutenant, and she goes out to investigate a murder. And it's really kind of funny because there's this other witch who's after Agatha, and I'm not entirely sure what her connection is to Agatha as of yet. But she keeps showing up in the TV show, in the true crime TV show, and she's like, she like gives Agatha advice and stuff, but she's also kind of mean to her. And turns out that she's that way because she's just waiting for Agatha to remember who she is, so that she can kill her for some reason. Or torture her. I'm not entirely sure which. And again, I don't know much about what the plot is there. It's kind of funny. They kind of dump us in. It's kind of almost like like the episode isn't the first episode of this true crime show. So it kind of gives you the feeling that you should have been watching before and paying attention. You know, it's kind of one of those shows where it's like, you know, they don't bother holding the audience's hands and they're like, hey, you know, remember this person and their connection and all that. You know, some shows do that. Some shows have like flashbacks and they're like, oh, remember this character, you know, or whatever. So apparently the show has gone on long enough that the people in charge of it are, you know, are like, oh, they know who everybody is. We don't need to explain. So, what's absolutely kind of hysterical is that Agatha, or as she calls herself, Agnes, in the TV show, she has these little blips where, like, the truth comes out. And then she goes in to this place in her house and it ends up becoming a morgue. And she mentions Wanda. And then this other witch person shows up in the morgue and she's like encouraging her to remember. And she's like, yes, claw your way out. And so Agatha keeps changing her appearance, including a couple times where she changes into the black and white appearances she had in Agatha in not Agatha All Along, in WandaVision in the very first episode with her and all that. So kind of fun. You know, kind of. I like that they do that. I like that it was clever. But what's absolutely hysterical is she comes fully to herself. She's nude. She's like naked, you know, at least to the camera. And she comes running outside, runs up to her next door neighbor, and he's like, whoa, you know. And she's like demanding an explanation. She's like, what's going on? What have I missed? That kind of thing. And then her neighbor says something that I found absolutely hysterical. She said, yeah, you seem to be on this true crime kick for like the past little while. And it's like, that's why the TV show was true crime. Was like a detective show with her in the starring role. And like, it's absolutely hysterical. So she goes back in the house, starts getting dressed, finds, I can't remember what they named the rabbit. It was something Scratches or Sir Scratchy or something like that. Anyway, she finds her rabbit familiar and is like, man, that witch knocked us under for a while. And is like, I ran it, yeah. And then this other witch comes bursting and is like, now you remember, now I can get my revenge, now I can kill you. And Agatha's like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, they fight for a bit, but Agatha doesn't have her witchy powers. Remember, she just broke out of the daydream night. I'm not entirely sure what you would call it, but she just broke out of the reality that Wanda put her in. And so she doesn't have her powers, she doesn't have anything. And so she's like, don't you want a fair fight? Don't you want to have fun with me? Don't you want to, don't you want me to have my powers? And so she talks this other witch into holding off on attacking her until she gets her powers back. She says, I'll go down the witch's road and I'll get my powers back, and then we'll do. Well, and then this other witch reveals that she summoned somebody called the Salem Seven, and that they'll be coming for her at midnight or at sundown. I think it's sundown, or maybe it's midnight. I don't know. I can't really remember. But anyway, so Agatha's like, oh shit, I gotta, Well, the other funny part is that while she was in the different reality, she had found a suspect for the murder of this person, this young girl, and it was this young guy. And so, for part of the thing, she's interrogating the kid, and she slams him down, she handcuffs him, she does all that thing. And then she, throws him in jail, whatever, and she's talking to him later about, you better tell me what. And that's where one of the glitches happens, where she's showing him pictures that are supposed to be of the body, and the kid is like, these are just flowers. And she looks down, and it's all pictures of, sunflowers and stuff. And it's like, what? But I also really like that because it's very glitch in the Matrix. It's, glitch in the Matrix episode. Like, I watch Lois Lane a lot of the times, and she has a series where she collects glitch in the Matrix, like TikToks and videos on YouTube and stuff. And she's just like, well, what do you think? And so I like how they presented that. It's like glitches. It's like, what reality is real here? And that was very cool. That was very clever of whoever decided to add that bit to the thing. And I think they did that in WandaVision too, a bit of the time. But that one was more like Wanda was being watched by, the government and stuff. So I like these because they're more, the little glitch in the, something you would make a TikTok about and be like, guys, I just had the weirdest experience, I think it's true. We're living in a simulation. So she is like, okay. So anyway, after the other witch takes off, well, not really veiled threats, more like actual threats, like, you better watch it, I'll be back, and the Salem 7 doesn't get you, I'll get you, And so Agatha's running around, getting dressed and all that. All of a sudden she hears banging coming from her closet. Well, she opens her closet and she's got the teenager, the kid she was interrogating, tied up in the closet. And so she's like, well, the interrogation seems to be more of a kidnapping. But what's absolutely funny is that the teenager doesn't seem to mind once he gets free. He is like, take me with you. I want to go on the witch's road. I want to, and it's like, at that point, I was like, wait a minute. Who is this young man? And that's the other funny thing. Like, every time he tries talking about himself or says his name or whatever, it's like massive distortion. Like, nobody else can hear what he's saying. Like, at one point, he and Agatha are in the car because she doesn't have a car. Keep in mind, her car was all imaginary in the other reality. So she says, you're driving. Let's go. Because she can't do it on her own. She needs a coven. Like she had before, back in the Salem days and all that. And so they go off to try and find a coven. She asks him a question about himself. And it's like he's talking, but it's like she can't hear what he's saying. And it's like, I really like the audio effect they use. Because it's kind of like, because I have ear problems. And there's times I have to ask people to speak up because I can't hear what they're saying or whatever. And I'm just like, and so it was just funny. She's just sitting there in silence looking at him like she's listening to him. But yet she's got this puzzled expression on her face. She's like, why can't I hear you? But she's not saying that she can't hear him. She's keeping all that information close to her chest. So anyway, they go to this store, and it's like, little crackpot roadside, have your fortune read kind of thing. So they go in there, and this character is like, sits down and they make up a story. She makes up a story, and she's like, I just want to know where the gold my husband buried before he died, and blah blah blah. The other witch tells her, but then she also tells her about who she is. And Agatha's like, you have the gift. You read my fortune. And the other witch turns around and she's like, I read your reputation. It's like, you are well known for miles as, And so, I just find that really interesting. So she goes around and she gathers 4 other people, 4 other women. And, it's funny because the show makes sure that we know what role each of them play. And, the first witch who they add to their coven is called the Divination Witch. And then there's the Potions Witch, who we find out has been bound by somebody, possibly Wanda. I don't know. They don't really go into detail about that. Maybe they will in the future. But anyway, so Agatha and Teen, she calls him Teen, because in the reality, when she was like, "Come on, kid, talk to me," and he's like, "I'm not a kid," and it's like, "All right, Teen," So she calls him Teen, especially since she doesn't know his name. So what I find fascinating is that they slowly pick up these others, including the daughter of the gal who, I can't remember if it's the daughter of the gal who wrote the Ballad of the Witch's Road, or if she wrote the Ballad of the Witch's Road. I think it's more that she's the daughter of the gal, because I forget what they call her, but Tina's like, "What? What is she?" And it's like, she's a child of a witch. She doesn't have, or supposedly doesn't have, powers of herself, but she's the daughter of a witch, so one would assume the magic flows through her blood, that she does have magical powers, but that they're latent, they're lying dormant. So she is like, so she picks up these people and then tries to start the thing, and then the other gal has said, "Wait a minute, I wrote another name on that list." And she's like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't." And then the king comes out. She's like, "Yeah, I did. I wrote the symbol of a black heart." And she said, "It's only black because you used black pen." And then she's like, "Fine, I know who we need. I'll go get her." So she goes to get. And if you remember from the 50s episode, Wanda and Vision have a couple over for dinner, and the husband starts choking. And the wife begs Wanda to please let him be able to breathe. Don't kill him, And so it's that gal, Deborah Jo Rupp, who is one of my favorite mom characters ever, because she was a mom in That 70s Show, and she was hilarious. She was so fun. But yeah, so she's the Green Witch, who is a witch who works with plants and dries herbs and all that kind of stuff. So Agatha is like, "I want to invite you to this party." And she keeps calling her by the name that Wanda called her in WandaVision. And she's like, "Sharon, my name is Sharon." And so it's hysterical. So she finally gets them all together, and then they start singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road, which is such a bop. It is such a good song. It is so awesome. I've had it in my head since I saw it on YouTube. And I'm just like, Keith and I were sitting next to each other watching it, and I'm just going, you know, I'm just bopping along to it and everything. And it's just so much fun. It's just such a good show. I highly recommend it. But then it starts getting spooky because Agatha sends Teen upstairs to do something. I forget what. Either get food or start locking up the house, that kind of thing. She might have told him to go lock up the house because I'm pretty sure, remembers about the visitors she's supposed to get. So, Teen sees somebody standing far enough away that he can't see their face. And he, is out of the house. And then the neighbor, of course, is out there with groceries and all that. And he turns around and asks Teen, "Do you see this?" Well, and the one lady turns, keep in mind, covers head to foot in a cloak, can't see their face, all that, then glitches and turns into 7. And that's when it's like, oh shit, they're coming for her. And so, meanwhile, in the basement, Agatha and the others are finishing singing the song. So Teen's running through the house, locking things, barricading doors, and all that. And then he starts running downstairs because one of the Salem 7 bursts through the window. And so he's like, Agatha! It's running down the stairs. Anyway, the ladies finish singing, and there's no door. At least they think there's no door. And then they look down. The door's on the floor. So they open the door, barely make it through before the Salem 7 come downstairs and start tearing crap apart. And so they're like, okay, so here's what we're going. So then they go through and they talk about what they have to do. And there's trials that they have to go through. And this is the first trial. And it's for their potion switch. And this gal, they walk into this nice, looks like a rich person's vacation home. And they walk through, and they're like, and then they end up having to solve a riddle. And I'm pretty proud of myself because I figured out what they were talking about before it was revealed what the answer was. I believe the riddle was something like, I'm trying to remember now. It was something like, not as much fun enjoyed alone. Age makes me better. And then something else. And then I was like, wine. And sure enough, they turn around and there's wine goblets on the table. And of course, Agatha tries Gal drinking the wine because she probably knows that there's something in the wine. So it turns out the wine is poisoned, and they have a certain number of time, and about then a clock starts ticking down, like its timer, and starts going down, like it's going, like it's counting down to 0. And they have until then to make an antidote. So this was a challenge for the potion switch. And she was like, okay. Give me this, give me that, give me, whatever. And, well, it turns out this house was kind of a dream world of itself. It was something that this witch wanted for herself. She wanted to be rich. She wanted a nice house, fancy house and stuff. Because in one of the bathrooms, the other witches open the door and there's all her. Because this witch gets by making skincare stuff. And this part that cracks me up, like she makes candles, but she claims you can eat the candle wax. And of course, it's fine. You find out earlier in the episode that she's like, oh, not really. You're not really supposed to eat candle wax. Ralph from The Simpsons was pretty correct on that. But, so anyway. So, they finally figure out that, and they're supposed to have a big cauldron, but the only thing they have is a kitchen sink. So they pour all their ingredients in there. It does work. It doesn't turn the right color. And so then, they're trying to figure it out. What are we missing? What are we missing? The blood of the unpoisoned. The only person who didn't have any of the wine was Teen, because he's underage. So Agatha grabs a knife, runs over, says something like, this is for, thank the gods you're underage or whatever, slices him, squeezes his hand, puts blood in the sink, turns the right color, and then they all grab glasses and drink, and, it doesn't taste good, but it gets the job done. But then they almost forget, their green witch, Sharon, I forget what happened to her, but she got, knocked out at some point. Oh, and one of the side effects of the poison was hallucinations. It starts out with, puffy faces and all that. And then it's then the other, side effects. So they each are having their own hallucination. I believe, I can't remember what happened to Sharon exactly, but something happens to her and she gets knocked out or faints or something. And so the clock is ticking down. The clock is almost to zero. They grab a glass, try to force it in her mouth. Because at this point, they're underwater. And the windows shattered and water's flooding into the house. So they all escape through the oven and end up back on the witch's road, but Sharon dies. Now we don't know if she'll come back from in another. I don't know if this is another reality or what exactly. But yeah, so that's where we ended it. Was the thing. But now, here's the thing. There are a couple of theories going around about Teen and who he might be. A lot of people are thinking he is the reincarnated version of one of Wanda's boys. And we believe, like, I don't know, I haven't seen the most recent episode yet, so I don't know. But word on the internet is that this guy is wicked. And like they're trying to leave the little clues there, but then I was talking to Keith about it, and he was like, "Yeah, but some people are also saying, and it could be possible, that it's Agatha's lost son, because back in the first episode, when she was still under and she was still doing the true crime thing, she had a room in her house where it was like scratches and all that, but it was like a teenager's room, like awards that he'd won and all that. And so it wasn't the rabbit, it was. So, and that was interesting because I don't remember. Of course, I haven't really fully seen WandaVision yet, but I have seen other people talking about it. I don't remember them mentioning Agatha or Agnes saying anything about having that, about Agnes or Agatha having a kid or having had a kid. But, like, I found that interesting. I was like, ooh. So when Keith mentioned that, I was like, oh, that could be it. But what would really be interesting if it was both? I think it would be really interesting if it was both. Sorry guys, just gotta plug in my laptop. There we go. If it was both the reincarnated version of Billy, I think was his name, and the reincarnated version of Billy, and also Agatha's son, who she lost, who we really don't know anything about, which I find interesting. And so that almost makes me wonder if Agatha put a sigil on her son. Maybe when he died, or maybe before he died, she was like, I'm putting a sigil on you, I'm putting a protection spell on you to keep you safe and you won't be able to say your name or whatever. And that makes me wonder. Because we didn't see a whole lot about Agatha except for over at Wanda and Vision's house. So that makes me wonder. Anyway, so that's where we left things off, and we gotta watch a new episode sometime this weekend. Probably tonight we will. But yeah, so I like this show. So far it hasn't gotten gross or really scary. It's been creepy. It's been spooky. But there haven't really been any jump scares. And there haven't really been any, well, one of the things I was scared of was I don't like spiders. I was afraid there would be spiders. And I don't know why I thought that. Maybe there were some in the trailer. I don't know. Or the implication of spiders. I don't know. Again, I don't know. But yeah, so we left off with them on the path. One of their coven is down. No idea if they'll be able to resurrect her or whatever. And I am kind of assuming, my theory at this point is that, oh, and this is the other thing, is the first witch that they recruit, the one who does divination and all that, she knows about Agatha's power, and she knows that, like, she pretty much is aware that, and lets the others know that Agatha will probably, most likely at some point, try to get them to blast her with their power so that she can absorb their power. So I'm assuming it's going to be kind of a, you know, like, and then there were none where one person falls each episode or whatever from here on out, and then Agatha absorbs her power somehow, and then she is like big and bad, goes back to deal with the Salem 7. And then there's also a theory going around, which I've seen a little bit of, where people are thinking at the end Scarlet Witch is going to show back up and be like, "What did I tell you? What did I tell you about causing trouble?" and one another, maybe mass fight between the two of them. I don't know, but anyway, so that's what I know so far, what I've theorized about so far. Anyway, I'm gonna go have some lunch, and then I went to laundromat yesterday, and I have to go back there because I have another load of clothes to do. And then tomorrow, we are going to, as far as I'm aware, we're going to Ash Nikki's house and play D&D, which I'm really looking forward to because that is going to be fun. Anyway, so, but yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted to share what's going on and stuff. I'll upload this as soon as I can, and I hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.